Hello everybody, welcome to Jeff living in the Philippines and yet another exciting video for you to watch. I must warn you that I may use some bad language in this video, but it's not on purpose, it's just because I get so engrossed in the content that it just comes out naturally. The title of this video is Why I Won't Have Medical Insurance, and this is based on my own personal experiences. You don't have to follow whatever I say. It's entirely up to you, but I just want to highlight a few things that you may not realize or even thought about. Okay, let's go straight into it. Do you honestly think that these medical insurance companies care for your welfare? Do you think every morning they sit round the ball table and they say, well, Mr. XYZ is in hospital, what shall we do to make him as comfortable as possible? No, they don't. They sit round the ball table and they say, oh, Mr. XYZ is in hospital, he's trying to claim for this. No, that's not on his policy. Let's see if we can save as much money as possible. That is their motive. How do you think they make their money? By you paying your monthly subscriptions and not claiming. I had an experience with medical insurance which really turned me off. That was, for 5 years, I was paying nearly £250 a month for travel insurance, medical insurance, covered me worldwide. Before I retired, I was working for the oil and gas, BP and Shell. And although I was covered flying to work and flying back from work and during work by the company, I was not covered during periods of rest. Sometimes I used to go to another country or I used to go back to the UK. So during those periods I required medical insurance. So I opened a medical insurance worldwide because I didn't know where I was actually going to fly to. I was paying £250 a month. Now I was paying that for 5 years and I never claimed one penny. Yeah, £250 a month, so that works out about £15,000 for 5 years, and I never claimed a penny. One day, I decided to look at their website and see if the policy had gone down, gone up. So I did that, and much to my amazement, the policy had actually gone down. I phoned them up and I said, can I cancel my policy and reopen a new one at the lower price? They said, no, it's not allowed. But they did say they will give me 1 month free. So I thought, well, that's very generous of you when you don't even have this decency to tell me when the policy has gone down. So in theory, I could have paid for another 5 years at the current price that I was paying, where in fact others were paying less. And that is why they don't tell you if it's what changes in the policies are. They just want your money. So in the end, I accepted the 3 month and then I cancelled my policy. And I've never had medical insurance since then. Now, let's base it on the Philippines. I've been in the Philippines 3 years and I'm over 70 and I'm entitled to get sick. So my first illness was a kidney stone. Now, when I was in Cyprus, I had a kidney stone on my right side. This time when I came to the Philippines, it started on my on my right side. Left side Cyprus, right side Philippines. So my partner and I, we walked to the end of the road, caught a tricycle to the local hospital, which was about 1.5 kilometres away. And I was registered with my weight, blood pressure, etc. Saw the doctor. She told me to go into the nurse. The nurse gave me a painkiller. I went home and, after getting some medication, and they wanted me back tomorrow for a scan. Not an MI scan, just like pregnant women have. And I went back the next day and I was told that there's like very small sand particles on my kidney. Now, one thing you got to remember, I said I walked to the end of the road and caught a tricycle to the hospital, 1.5 kilometres away. If you live in the province, or you're thinking of living in the province, this is what you need to think about. Does your wife drive? Are you in that much pain that you can't drive? Do you call an ambulance? Can the ambulance get to your house? Does the ambulance know where you live? If it's raining heavily, is the road muddy? Will the ambulance get stuck? This is one of the things that you need to think about wherever you're going to live. I live in the city. I am in walking distance because the next day when I went out to have a scan, I walked to the hospital. I had the scan and he told me about the sand. Now, in total, that cost me about 4,000 peso. I just paid for it, cash, there and then. The doctor, the pharmacy, for the injection, etc., and the scan the next day. After that, I caught dengue fever. This house was being renovated and we had no aircon, it was hot, it was sweaty, dust everywhere, so I'm not surprised that I caught dengue, but dengue is no fun. I didn't know what it was at the time, so I went to the doctor's hospital because I felt that the local hospital, you know, it was more serious than just going to the local one. So I went to the doctor's hospital, again, caught a tricycle, which was about 2 or 3 kilometres away in Lapu. Saw the doctor, I had to pay 1,000 pesos to see the doctor. He sent me down to get tests, which they done every test known to man. And I got the results near enough straight away. I then went back to the doctor, who I think I paid another 1,000, I'm not sure. But it was discovered I had dengue fever. He gave me medication, and then one day I had to go back, and I think it was my white blood cells was very low, and he wanted to see me again in case I had to be admitted into hospital. Well, the next day, I think I went back, or a couple of days later, my blood cells had gone up. I think my blood cells, like me, were too frightened to pay out money, so they decided to go up. So I didn't have to stay in hospital. In the end, I eventually recovered from the dengue fever, and it was a bit of a long process. My legs were killing me, I couldn't stand for long periods and everything. But again, that dengue fever, with visits to the hospital and medication, and it must have cost about 5,000 pesos. After that, some time after that, I mean, I'm talking about a space over 3 years, remember. I came here in December 21, after spending 10 days in quarantine up in Manila. So my next illness, which was skin cancer. Now, the skin cancer didn't develop in the Philippines. It developed way below. I think I developed it in Kazakhstan. I don't know why, because it's in freezing conditions. But most of my work for the oil and gas was out in hot countries like Oman, Syria, etc. I had a small cut on just in front of my ear. And I had it for years, and it just wouldn't go away. I kept using different ointments, creams, plasters, etc. It kept scabbing over. Scab came off. And in the end, I decided to go to the Changhua Hospital in Mandawi. Got an appointment, and that cost me 300 and something peso for a meeting with the doctor who referred me to a plastic surgeon. I thought, well, cross, it's only skin cancer, I'm not ugly enough to have plastic surgery, but anyway. I saw the doctor, she took a biopsy, which cost me, I think, 13,000. She sent the biopsy down to the lab. A few days later, I went back and she said that it was skin cancer, but luckily enough, it was the lowest and the slowest form of skin cancer. But it still has to come out. So I decided, yeah, okay, let's cut it out, because I'm a bit sick of it being in the side of my ear, people saying, what's that, what's that, what's that? And in the end, I went. I was in the department for about 3 hours getting my skin cancer cut out. And one thing I liked about it was, whilst I was laying on the bed, and the female doctor, who was absolutely amazing, I don't know why people want to go overseas for medical treatment, because the doctors here are perfectly fine, but it depends where you go. You get what you pay for. Anyway, she was amazing. And during the procedure, she sent my cancer that she had cut out down to the lab. And within minutes, the lab came back with a whole list of report. And you're awake during this operation. It's just a local anaesthetic. So the assistant was reading this thing out to the doctor in Basaya. And I said to them, well, what's going on? And she said, from the lab, everything's clear. We've cut it all out. There's no sign of any more cancer. So that was really good, I thought. And then she stitched me up and whatever. And I only had a small plaster on the side of the ear. Went downstairs, got some French fries from the cafe, and then caught a taxi home. Now that, if you add on the 13,000 for the biopsy, not autopsy, biopsy, that, if you include everything, including taxi fares, etc., etc., it came to about 100,000. Probably less, but I'm just rounding it up to the highest figure, probably about 100,000. And then after that, I had a bacterial infection. And I went to the local hospital, caught a tricycle to the local hospital, had a urine and a blood test, saw the doctor, she gave me antibiotics, and a few days later, it cured itself. In fact, my partner gave me 2 bottles of Yakult, and I drank them, and I felt absolutely perfect after that. But anyway, that bacterial infection at the most cost me about 3,000. So if you add all that up over the 3-year period, it came to about 112,000 peso, which I went on to the exchange rate for today, the XE one, so please don't criticise my exchange rates. I don't give a shit what people think. This is what I'm saying from XE at today. 112,000 pesos is equivalent to 1,566 UK pounds. Or I think it was 1913 US dollars. Now, just for an example, say I took out a medical insurance when I came to the Philippines for £200 per month. And it is roughly about £200, 250. It depends on what your policy is. But because you're a foreigner, they expect you to, they will talk you into having, the most. In 3 years, £200, that would have cost me about, I would have paid into a medical insurance about £7,200. Yeah. And if you can deduct that from the money that I spent on all my 4 illnesses during my 3 years, I would have paid about 402,746 pesos more than what I actually spent on my medical conditions. Okay, people are going to say, yeah, but maybe you don't have the money, which is fair dues. But if you don't have the money, how can you pay £200 out every month for medical insurance? If you are going to go down the road of having medical insurance, or planning to, then Why not put that £200 in the bank? So it's always there. Because I sometimes wonder, is there a qualifying period on this medical insurance? Maybe you pay for 3 months and then you go into hospital with cancer. Will they cover you? This I don't know, and I don't really care about. Anyway, if you have savings, then fine. Then use your savings. You don't need medical insurance if you've got savings. I had savings, but I didn't touch my savings for these. I just drew it out of my monthly allowance that I get. This house is paid for. I don't pay rent or anything, and I get my state pension and an army pension. So I just use that to pay for my medicals. As a backup, I also have a credit card with about over £6,000 in it if I want to. If I was seriously ill that I went into hospital, I could use my credit card to pay for it all. And every month I could pay whatever I want back, as long as it's above what they say the minimum payment is. Now, but if I have medical insurance, would I honestly bother claiming if it was for a bacterial infection that I only had antibiotics for and the doctor's fee, maybe 3,000 pesos? Would I be bothered to claim for that? Probably not. And would it be in my policy that I can claim for it? There's a lot of little things that people probably can't be bothered about claiming because it's only a few thousand pesos. So you're not only paying on top of your medical insurance every month, but you're also subsidising them really by paying for the smaller things that you can't be bothered claiming about. Now, I've never had to stay in hospital for any of these illnesses. Dengue fever, there was a possibility, but my blood cells went up, which was fine. But if I had gone into hospital and put a claim in, how much would they have given me back in a claim? Because what I've noticed with a lot of these medical insurances, they always find something that is not in your policy. It's either that the illness is not covered by your policy, the things that you're claiming for is not covered in your policy. They will go out of their way to pay you as less money as possible because it's money in the bank for them. Now, going back to when I was paying 5 years at $250 a month, the company couldn't even have the decency to tell me my policy had gone down. So I could have not said anything and not known about it and paid for another 5 years. So I was paying even more money than someone that was just opened an account 5 years ago. They're rip-off merchants. They have got no interest in your medical health at all. They will try and knock you down as much as possible, saying you can't claim for this, you can't claim for that, blah, blah, blah. It's very similar to, I had it in my head then, but I can't think of it. It's like house insurance. There was a situation in America where someone had house insurance for earthquakes, fire, blah, blah, blah. But because her house was knocked down by a tornado, the insurance policy said she wasn't covered for tornadoes. And as she rightly said, well, what is the point of having house insurance? It's the same as house insurance here in the Philippines. I think they cover you for like $1.5 million. Well, the house costs more than $1.5 million. You got to look into these insurance policies in real detail and especially medical insurance. If you're going to take medical insurance out, you want to sit down with your partner or your wife or whoever it is and detail everything that you think you'll need if you went into hospital. From toothpaste, to medication, to a room, to food, to transportation, to everything. And then see if that policy covers all of them. Because some policies don't even, they cover medication, but you can guarantee that there'll be some medication that is not covered. There will be something, maybe your transport fees, ambulance fees are not covered. That is why I will not have medical insurance, because from my experience, they do not give a shit about you when you're ill. All they want is to save as much money as possible by telling you it's not in the policy, or you had the illness before you took the policy, or this isn't in the policy, that's not in the policy. All they want to do is save as much money as possible, because that is the business they are in. Now, I'm not saying you've got to take my advice. If you've got money saved up, use that. If you've got a credit card or something, use that. Or if you're thinking of taking out medical insurance, instead of giving them the money, put it in the bank every month. It's like me. £15,000 I paid out in 5 years and I never claimed once. But you can guarantee that there's someone out there, like very similar to A&E in the hospital. People go there for the slightest thing, like a cold or a flu. I would only go to A&E if my arm dropped off or something. But you can guarantee there are people that would claim every week or every month for something. And here are you paying all this money out, maybe for 5 years, paying £15,000 like I was, and not claiming a penny. So that's £15,000 in their pocket. So what I should have done really was bank £250 a month, and I would have had £15,000 in 5 years. I never even used it for medical. And like I said, if it's just a trivial thing like a bacterial infection and you go to your local hospital and you do it for 3,000 paisa, are you going to bother claiming for 3,000 paisa? Or there's probably a clause saying that the minimum amount of claim is like 10,000 paisa or something like that. There's always something that will fucking stop them paying you money. It's a big business, especially for foreigners. And I'm not just saying in the Philippines, but Thailand, maybe Vietnam, everywhere where there's expats, there's money. So you can take my advice or not. It's entirely up to you. Please subscribe, share, like, do whatever you want with it. Send it to the medical insurance if you want, because that's it. That's my take on medical insurance, and I still don't have medical insurance. So that's it. Take my advice or leave it. It's just my own personal experiences. It's entirely up to you, whatever you do. But I'm just telling you what happened to me. And remember, once you take out a policy, you won't hear from them again until you're in hospital. They don't they don't contact you every month and say, how's things going, blah, blah, blah. By the way, your policy's gone down. We'll start the new cost next month. No, they don't. My policy could have gone down about £10. Would they have told me in 5 years? No way, it's £10 in their pocket. Anyway, that's enough for me. Sorry for any background noise. I tried to do this earlier, but my cat kept bloody meowing. But luckily, he's sleeping after I hit him on the head with a frying pan. So he's sleeping now. So I took this opportunity to make this video. So all the best, take care, keep out of hospital, and keep your money in your pocket. Bye-bye.